Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samar News. Here are today's headlines. US President Donald Trump says it is important for Israel to keep a strong and steady dialogue with Syria. In a post on Truth Social, he said nothing should interfere with Syria's path toward becoming a prosperous state. His statement signals the US government's continued support for stability in the region. Meanwhile, Benjamin Netanyahu spoke with President Trump shortly after he urged Israel to maintain dialogue with Syria. Netanyahu's office says the call focused on disarming Hamas and demilitarizing Gaza, as well as expanding Israel's ties with new countries. Trump also invited Netanyahu to the White House in the near future. At least 4 people have been killed and around 40 injured after a Russian missile strike hit the city of Dnipro. Emergency crews pulled the wounded from damaged buildings as firefighters work through the debris. Ukraine says a car service station, offices, and dozens of vehicles were destroyed. The attack comes as President Zelensky met French leaders in Paris in a renewed diplomatic push. Talking to Emmanuel Macron after high-level talks in Florida, Zelensky said tough issues still need to be resolved, even as he meets European leaders to rally support. Macron reaffirmed France's backing, while US officials say some progress has been made in peace talks. On the other hand, President Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, heads to Moscow to brief Vladimir Putin as diplomacy around the war intensifies. According to the Kremlin, President Putin will meet Witkoff in Moscow on Tuesday to discuss Washington's proposed plan for ending the war. Kyiv has rejected Russia's demands for more territorial concessions, calling them unacceptable. Tajikistan's presidential press service has said that 5 people were killed and 5 more injured in 2 attacks launched from neighbouring Afghanistan over the past week. Tajik authorities said last week that 3 Chinese citizens had been killed in a drone attack launched from Afghanistan. Tajik President Emomali Rahmon's press service said that Rahmon met with the heads of his security agencies to discuss the situation and ways to strengthen border security. It said that Rahmon strongly condemned the illegal and provocative actions of Afghan citizens and ordered that effective measures be taken to resolve the problem and prevent a recurrence of such incidents. A former senior British officer has told a public inquiry that British special forces in Afghanistan appeared to commit war crimes by executing suspects and, despite widespread knowledge in the chain of command, nothing was done. Britain's Defence Ministry ordered the inquiry after a BBC TV documentary reported that soldiers from the elite Special Air Service killed 54 people during the war in Afghanistan more than a decade ago in suspicious circumstances. The investigation is examining a number of nighttime raids by British forces from mid-2010 to mid-2013, when they were part of a US-led coalition fighting the Taliban and other militants. Egypt's Foreign Minister, Dr. Bad Ahmed Mohamed Abdelati, calls on Chief of Army Staff Field Marshal Syed Asim Munir at GHQ in Rawalpindi, where both dignitaries hold wide-ranging discussions. During the meeting, the 2 leaders reviewed the state of bilateral relations between Pakistan and Egypt, described by ISPR as ties between 2 brotherly countries. A key portion of the discussion centred on defence and security cooperation, including military-to-military engagement, training exchanges, and collaborative initiatives tied to regional peace and stability. India's Telecoms Ministry has privately asked smartphone makers to preload all new devices with a state-owned cybersecurity app that cannot be deleted, a government order showed. A move likely to antagonise Apple and privacy advocates. Apple, which has previously locked horns with the telecoms regulator over development of a government anti-spam mobile app, is among the companies such as Samsung, Vivo, Oppo, and Xiaomi bound by the new order. Revenues at China's giant military firms fell last year as corruption purges slowed arms contracts and procurement. A research finds that Chinese declines contrast with strong revenue growth globally for big arms and military services companies, fueled by wars in Ukraine and Gaza and global and regional tensions. Revenues of China's top military firms fell 10% last year, while those in Japan surged 40%, Germany 36%, and US revenues rose 3.8%. US authorities believe the Afghan immigrant accused of ambushing National Guard members in Washington, D.C., was not radicalized until after he came to the United States. Speaking on NBC's Meet the Press and ABC's This Week, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said authorities think alleged shooter Rahmanullah Lakanwal was already living in Washington state when he became radicalized. Noem said investigators are seeking more information from family members and others. Noem said US officials have received some participation so far from people who knew Lakanwal and warned the US would pursue anyone connected to the shooting. And the death toll from floods and landslides across Southeast Asia is nearing 800, with Indonesia alone reporting more than 600 dead after a week of cyclone-driven storms. Thailand has recorded heavy losses as recovery crews move in and weather improves. In Indonesia's West Sumatra, homes have been flattened and roads cut off, while rescuers search for the missing and clear debris. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samar.tv. Thank you for watching Samar News.